So where are we at? Which section?
22, number 60.
2260? Alright, so this one is, let's see. Oh, okay. This is kind of a long equation problem. Let's see what this one says. What's this? That one there, right? Yep. All right. So help me out, guys. What's the first thing I want to do on that guy? Good, distribute. I like it. So you're always trying to free those things up because you got to be able to move stuff around. So there's a couple distributions to do, right? Why don't you be over there? So what do you get?
5t plus 5.
And then the plus 8 is still here, right?
Yeah.
Things have a tendency to disappear, so don't do magic stuff. What happens here? Yeah, that's awesome. So I do that some more. And what can I do over this side?
Add 5 and 8.
Yeah, well, 5 and 8 becomes 13. All right, let me stop there. So that's just doing what you can on each side. Distribute, like terms on each side. Now's where you start to move stuff around. Okay, cool. A couple steps away. What's in the wrong place? Yeah, the 5t's are in the wrong place.
Yeah.
And how do you get rid of them over on this side? Subtract. I like it. So it's all about, they're in the wrong place, so I want them to disappear. So I subtract them. Pop. 13 equals, good, -2. And then you're one step away. I like it. Equations are the bread and butter. Equations are if you can't solve equations, you just stop and focus on that because you're not going to be able to do anything else. Equations are where things kind of boil down to eventually. Right, so we're going to do some word problem stuff today. Yay! And the hard part should be setting up the equation. The easy part should be solving that thing. Should be. Right, so one last step, of course. What would you do here? Do I add 2 to both sides?
Divide 2.
Can you see why somebody would make that mistake? What would you tell somebody if they put +2 and put a 15 here? What would you tell them? Why is that not good? It's currently multiplication. Addition won't do anything to that. So how do you kill multiplication? Division, like you guys said. Oh. There's a freebie. I like how some people don't even write it down. You're like, I can do that when you get to it. No problem. I like it. Anything else from homework? There was some, yes?
75.
In that same section?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
Nobody knows.
75, right?
Yeah.
2/5 x. Minus 3x equals 3/4 x plus 2. Oh, crap. So you have to be able to work with fractions, just period. But the thing to realize about equations is they give you a way to kill your fractions first. So, like I told you, I am a human. I'm going to make mistakes on fractions more likely than not. So I would try to eliminate them. If I don't have to work with them, I'm not going to. Same thing with negatives and stuff like that. So you could, if you wanted to, you could combine these, subtract that over, right? That would work fine. Nothing wrong with that. Or you can make everything have the same denominator, because then what could you do? If they all have the same bottom, what can I do to get rid of it? If they're all over 7, I could just do what to both sides to kill that? Multiply by 7, because it would cancel them. So right now, if I multiply by 5, that will cancel this, but will any other fraction cancel? No, shit. But if I multiply by the LCD, that would make them all. So what would the LCD be?
20.
20. I like it. It's got to have a 4. 4 has a 2 in it already, so it's got to have a 4. It's got to have a 5, so it's got to be 20. What's he need then?
Times by 4.
4. 10. 5. 20.
I just flipped down.
I didn't flip it. I just put that over 1 so I didn't forget them. People are like, it's already whole. I don't have to do anything, but it can't escape being changed. It's got to be effective. So now I've got 8x over 20 minus 30x over 20 equals 15x over 20 plus 40 over 20. And like you said, what can I do now to kill all those fractions? Multiply by 20. I'm allowed to multiply both sides of an equation by anything I want to except 0. What's the smart thing here? 20. And somehow people make it still survive. If I multiply by 20 everything, what happens to all the 20s? Yeah, they're gone. It's dead. Don't make this 160x. It's dead. Why? What was its purpose? What is my purpose? Kill the other 20. Oh, God. Better than pass the butter. So what do I have left? 8x. Now that's nice, right? It's nicer, at least. You know, I wouldn't call it nice, but it's nicer. And then I just got to get your x's on one side, your numbers on the other side, right? It looks like almost all the x's are here. Is this cool? I don't want to do every homework problem for you, so I'm going to leave a little mystery on that one. The only thing that's in the wrong place is what? What's the only thing in the wrong place?
15x.
Those 15 x's are in the wrong place. All the other x's are here. Combine those. Subtract that 15 x's over. You're almost done. You're almost done. Yeah, and that'll come to you. You good? What's up?
I wanted another problem.
Okay,
On 2.1.
sure.
Can we do 18?
Okay. I don't like that. I'm dealing with a problem. Want another one? Let's see. Oh, all right. So on 2.1, there was that section of homework that said check these, verify if this is a solution to the equation. So don't solve the equation. Check the answer, meaning plug that value in. So 18, the equation they give you is -3. Where'd you go? Equals 5 minus n over 2. And they say the value of n they think is the answer is 4. So you take that 4 and you put it in n and you see if that becomes true. If it becomes true, yes, it's a solution. If it doesn't become true, no, that is not a solution. That's all. So when you put 4 in there, what is 4 divided by 2? 2. All right, and then you keep going. So if it's not true, that's not a solution. If it is true, that is a solution. What's it mean to be the solution to an equation? That value makes the equation true. That's what it means. So if you plug it in and it makes it crap, like 7 equals 2, go home equation, you're drunk, that means that is not a solution. It didn't make it work. Yes?
Okay, so question 80 on chapter 2.2.
Ah, all right, a twofer. Oh, yeah, okay. So let me build my way up to that question. This is 2.2, number 80. That's the one that's 3 halves, 2x plus 5, that one?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, a little side note. Okay, let me stop using green. how would you solve this? Who remembers? You've done a couple like this. There's something you can multiply by. If I multiply by the reciprocal, because what number do I want here? 1. Not even, I want 1 there. That'd be 1x, so I'll know what the hell x is. So what do I multiply fraction by to make it become 1 and multiply by its reciprocal? What is the reciprocal of 4/7?
7/4.
7/4. So I multiply both sides by 7/4. That will make that become x. That makes beautiful sense. A reciprocal, when I multiply by something, makes that thing 1. And that's what I want. As a coefficient, I want 1. And on that side, I get 4 goes into 8, 7 goes into 35. So I get negative 2/5. Now, how does that have anything to do with number 80? Well, this is something I don't know. And it has a fractional coefficient, so I can kill that coefficient. That'll work all the damn time. So do I have that situation here? Yes. What was it? 8. I've got 3/2 times something I don't know equals negative 15/2. Can you kill the 3/2? Now normally you would distribute that. Can you see how that gets a little gross? Not that bad. You can still do that, but here's an alternate way to do this. Can I multiply both sides so that this becomes 1? What would I multiply by? 2/3. So if I multiply both sides by 2/3, that goes away, so then I get 2x plus 5. 2x plus 5. It's my 7th puberty. And then over this side, you just figure out what the hell that is. That's the 2's. What happens to the 2's? They cancel. And 3 goes into 15. So I get negative 5. And now, I mean, that looks beautiful, right? You got a couple steps to finish it out. Now, is there anything wrong with distributing the 3/2 and going from there? Not a damn thing. You'll get there. I just want to give you an alternate way. I'm sorry if you're somebody that hates seeing multiple ways. Yes?
Wait, so like, okay, when you multiply by the reciprocal, when you multiply 3/2 by the reciprocal, whenever there's a fraction and like parentheses, like multiplication,
Yes.
you always just multiply it? Or like you wouldn't just like divide it? Or, so like, okay, I think I get it now. So when you multiply by that reciprocal,
Yes.
it just turns it into a 1. So
Because the 2's cancel and the 3's cancel.
Okay, okay, so you
As long as you do it to both sides,
yeah.
you're fine. I like it. How we doing? I love the look that's on your faces. So real quick, you could do this every time you want to. I mean, you're not done with it. I'm going to let you finish that out.
I should get 5 on that one. On the 15.
Oh yeah, 2 and 2 cancels.
Okay.
3 goes into 15 5 times. So it's negative 5. That's all that's left, right?
Oh, okay.
Everything else kind of canceled away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So real quick, if your problem was 4 times, let's say your problem is 40 times 8x minus 3 equals 80. I wouldn't distribute the 40, I'd divide by the 40. It's sort of related to what we're doing. Instead of distributing this thing, get rid of that thing. It's an
Okay.
equation.
Okay. So the reason why you multiply it and you don't divide it is because it's a fraction? And
Well, I actually am multiplying and dividing. I multiply by 2 and I'm divided by 3. Because I have a 3 on top and a 2 on the bottom, I want to kill both of them. Right? With that one shot. Just like that. Just right through all. Kill everybody with that one shot. Alright. Or you know. Is that alright? Would this still work if you brought the 40? Of course it would. You just have bigger numbers than you really need. So equations, you have a little bit of flexibility with what you can do. You can get rid of fractions, you can kill decimals, you can divide by stuff instead of distributing them. Yeah,
75.
and then I'll come over here. Oh, you actually had a
It was a
question.
question about that.
Yeah, go ahead. And then I'll
If
do-
the fraction is in the parentheses, can you still kill it?
Oh, all right. That's what I thought you were going to ask. I always get somebody to ask, why did a 2/3 multiply by this also? Which is not really directly related to what you're saying. It's because, like, so let me answer that question, and then I'll answer your question, right? 2 times 3 times 4. What is 2 times 3 times 4? How do you do it?
24.
What do you do in your head? 2 times 3 is 6. So what would you tell somebody that said on the next step they said this? Just see where they got that from. That ain't right. That's not right. What'd this person do though?
Two times 3 and 2 times 4.
What would you tell them? How many 2's are there? There's 1, 2. There ain't no magic flipping 2 that. There's only 1, 2. Once you multiply by 3, how the hell would 4 get its own? There's only 1, 2. So sometimes people are like, why do you only have to multiply these together? Why not? Because it's dead. There's nothing left for this guy. I multiply these. There's 1. There's nothing left for this guy. Aw. It's not distribution because it's multiplication. I don't distribute across multiplication. There's a problem like this. I'm seeing way too many people say this on their next step. And I'm putting a big ass question mark. This is, this is like religious level shit. There's 1 4, and now there's 4s for everyone. So, right? Very strange religious book. Everyone got a 4. You got a 4, right? Yeah, it's the Obama. It's the. What is it? I forgot her name. Oprah. Thank you. It's the Oprah level of mathematics. Everybody gets a 4. But there's only distribution if the inside property is different. This means times, and so does this. No distribution. It's just 4 times x times y. This is distribution. It's multiplication, and that's addition. They're not the same property. They're going to have a weird way of acting with each other, and we know what it is. It's distribution. Maybe. Okay, no, so your question was more, what if there's a fraction inside? So if I had 7 times 5/4 x plus 1 equals 2, right? This gets a little bit funky. You could multiply by 4 on both sides. You would just have to bring the 4 in. You wouldn't give it to the 7. You would give it in here. You could do that. This is getting a little bit beyond where I want to be, though. But whoever asked that question, that is doable. If the fraction's inside. You don't give it to this dude. He doesn't need it. I only have 1 4. It either goes here or it goes inside. And I'm going to bring it inside, so that would become 7 times 5x plus 4 equals 8. Hey.
So you have to distribute it though.
Yeah, because either you give the thing to that number, or you give the thing to this, which is distribution, because there's a plus.
Because it's a whole expression.
So you give the 4 to the 7, make it 28. But I want to give the 4 to this, so that 4 dies. And I've got to distribute because it's addition. Yeah. Okay, yes.
So, like on the equation that you wrote, where you just multiplied by 4 to kill the denominator, could you essentially do that on 80 as well, instead of multiplying by the reciprocal, multiply both sides by 2?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, this just multiplies by 2 and divides by 3 at the same time. So you could do each one separately. You could multiply by 2 and then distribute the 3. You could do a little bit of both. Yeah. That kills some people, though. I understand. They're like, just tell me the one way to do it. But there's an idea underlying all of this. Get the x by itself, get the numbers on the other side, right? And so how do you get there? Multiple different ways. But your goal is the same. I want to get rid of all this other shit. I got rid of all of this. You can get rid of a piece of it. We're both moving towards the same goal. Does that make sense? So it's not like you have to memorize every single way. You pick a way that makes sense and you go with it. And if none of them make sense, you come see me. Bless you. Anything else from the homework stuff before we do this?
Number 70 on 2.2.
Oh, 70 is another, it's sort of like that one, right? It's the one right before that one. 70, 1 over 1 minus 2 over 3 more. Bless you. It's 1/5 y plus 3/5, man. Well, this is kind of nice. What's the only denominators? What's the only denominators? 5 and 3. You know, the 1 here doesn't really count. So what's the LCD going to be? So if you make everybody, each term have a 15 on the bottom, you can multiply both sides with 15 and have no fractions. That is an option. There's an option that people normally go for. I don't blame you. I do the same damn thing. Why work with fractions when you don't need to? You have to be able to, but why would you? Right? So you want to go home. There's a mountain this way or flat this way. I could do this, but I'm tired. I want to do it. Right? Okay. Maybe. Is that cool for that one? It's really the same thing. What did we do here? We made all the bottoms the same, and then we multiplied by it, so they all disappeared. Make all the bottoms 15, and then multiply everything by 15. Because you have an equation, you're allowed to do that. You guys have heard, I'm sure you've heard the whole idea of the equation as a balance. So if I quadruple the weight here, I better quadruple the weight here, so it's still balanced. I mean, that's why I can do so many things with equations to keep anything that keeps the balance is legal. All right, I think that's enough time devoted to questions. Let's do this quiz. If you didn't bring your calculator, that's fine, because I'm not going to let you use one, so put those away.
You want me to like?
Yes, you're going to try it out.
Cool.
We'll see.
See where I'm at.
Yeah, exactly. I'll work with you, though, because you're at a bit of a disadvantage, but we'll work. Don't get overly anxious, okay? Do what you need.
Do you want to have a scratch piece of paper out?
It's up to you. You should have plenty of room on this. If you want to have a scratch paper